Do you think power came too early to you? Do you think it was a blessing? Do you think it's a regret?
I believe the power was always gives room for change.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you are probably the youngest vice president they ever had in that country.
My age was 33 by that time, and then Constitution says that above 35 can only be vice president.
Tourism minister, 29, and the vice president of a famous country at that too, at 33. Was it lonely? Today on Beyond the Itinerary, we journey beyond the turquoise waters and overwater villas of the Maldives to explore the story behind one of the world's most aspirational destinations. The intention behind this conversation is to go far beyond tourism alone and explore the human stories behind destination building, leadership, reinvention, and legacy. The Maldives has become one of the most sought-after travel destinations in the world, and our guest's personal journey has intersected with that evolution in a significant way. Our guest is a man whose life has been deeply intertwined with the rise of modern Maldivian tourism, a story of ambition, transformation, power, controversy, resilience, and reinvention. He made history as the youngest tourism minister and later the youngest vice president in Maldivian history, helping shape the trajectory of a nation that became synonymous with luxury, travel, and island paradise. But beyond the headlines and the politics lies a far more human story, one of leadership, pressure, reflection, and rebuilding. This is not just a conversation about tourism. It is a conversation about leadership, legacy, identity, and what it truly takes to build paradise. Your Excellency Ahmed Adeeb, welcome to Beyond the Itinerary. Adeeb, thank you so much for being on Beyond the Itinerary today.
Yeah.
It's a real pleasure and honor to have you as our guest on today's show. So we're really happy that you're here. Why don't you tell us about Maldives as a young boy for you, your childhood? Maldives is known as, a place of barefoot luxury, overwater villas. It's one of the most aspirational destinations in the world today. But what was Maldives like or Mali like for you as a young boy when you were growing up?
Thank you, Bobby, for inviting me for this podcast. Yes, Maldives, for me growing up, it's like it's an island nation. So I was an island boy. In growing it in Mali was like playing football on the streets. Every afternoon we go for swimming. So we, grew up in the sea. So beach. I think I had the chance to travel all around the world. So I can compare like Brazil. If you go to those beaches, people playing around, surfing. So I think that's how we grew up as well in Maldives, and a lot of fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, so I guess life was very simple growing up in the Maldives for you as a young boy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got the luxury and the privilege to travel around the world, so you could compare it to other parts of the world.
Yeah.
But would you say, by and large, that life was pretty simple and childhood was simple when you were growing up in the Maldives?
Yeah, it was very simple, very fun-filled, and very relaxed. It's a very happy country. I mean, the people.
Yeah. That shows in the hospitality even when you go there.
Yeah.
And when you were growing up, did you ever think that the Maldives will become this, ultra luxury tourism destination and one of the most sought after destinations in the world? Was that something that was in your mind growing up as a child, or was it something that came across to you much later on in life that that we were onto something and there was a huge gap in the market that needed to be filled for the Maldives?
So when I grew up, I was a footballer. So I played for all my junior national teams. So I was part of youth development teams. So I was engaged on that very much. So growing up in Malay and islands, we didn't. I mean, tourism was always there. It has always been part of our life. But then we never thought. I never thought on that. But then with an injury to my knee at around the age of 19, which took me to a different path. I went to study abroad, and Then when I came back, it was a new democracy. I came back 2009. 2008, we got multi-party democracy for the first time, and with a new constitution.
In the Maldives, I mean, look, one thing that baffles me till now, the first time I met you a few months ago and we started having a discussion, and at the age of 29, you were appointed as the Minister of Tourism for the Republic of the Maldives. And then a few years later, you were then appointed as a Vice President. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you are probably the youngest Vice President they ever had in that country, or in probably many countries, to begin with. So tell us more about how did that journey start, and from where did you get into um, tourism, government, politics? How did that uh, how did that change in your life?
Yeah. So as I just mentioned, I came after my studies. I was an MBA graduate in 2009. I was a freelance business consultant, and then I was elected to Chamber of Commerce board that year itself. And then from Chamber of Commerce, it was very new that all the institutions were independent, all the media became free. People were protesting on streets because it's so something new for them, something new for all of us. And then I was invited to media, and I was pushed by the business lobby. I was in the Chamber of Commerce. So I became the voice of business from 2009 onwards. And within a year, I was, pitted against ministers. I was debating on policies because I was doing continuous research as a business consultant, which I have to be always up to date with the numbers. So, so I was debating, and I was fast in getting the numbers right, predicting what are the policy flows. Well, I mean, like their privatization, their dollar exchange policies, which were not in the right place. I was able to predict the outcomes. So I can say I was the first one to come up very quickly through the media, through the free media, which came in after democracy. So then there was the government change. Actually, the president resigned, the vice president took over, and he formed a national unity government. And that's the point where one of the biggest parties who joined the government nominated me as Minister of Tourism, and a lot of business support was there because I came up through Chamber of Commerce, and by 2012 I found myself being offered as Minister of Tourism, which I'd never thought of it before. But then a lot of businesses, they all encouraged me because it was in a political turmoil. If you see, for a country which had a leader for 30 years, very strong leader, and then suddenly it became a democracy, and suddenly everyone is free protesting all around. But sometimes investors, they get really scared. So that's where I came in. I tried to be more than a political. Try to be a minister who sat down with the industry, who listened to them. I spent 2 years listening to them, and then I came up the ranks through that political party as well. I was able to raise funds for politics. We got our president elected from that party. I became Minister of Tourism again in the second government in 2014. And then I found myself again invited by the same president to be the vice president. Even my age was 33 by that time, and then Constitution says that above 35 can only be vice president. And then he even changed the Constitution to bring me in. So, so it's that I didn't plan this out, or it has been always have been offered to me. And as Minister of Tourism, I took the responsibility because I believe that that was a good time that I can do something, because already I was connected to the industry. I can listen to them and work with the private sector, because sometimes when you grow up only through the bureaucracy, you don't understand the real needs of the industry. So I was glad that I'm able to do it, but it had a lot of toll on my private life,
Of course.
because once you accept ministership, then your private life is gone, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that is but we were able to change a lot.
And with the turmoil that you say that happened in the country at that time, obviously the freedom of the media came into play.
Yeah.
And that obviously helped. In a lot of ways, it probably didn't help in a lot of ways, because now the Maldives was probably not being seen in the most positive light to the outside world. And it's a completely different story today. And I know that you played an instrumental role in changing the image of Maldives even after that political turmoil happened. So I'd love to know more about basically what changes you made, um, especially in the tourism docket, because that really is
Yeah.
um, the largest foreign income exchange earner for the Maldives today.
Yeah. So in tourism, when I became Minister of Tourism, the previous president wanted to do a rebranding. He called it Always Natural, but we had for, I would say, like 25 years even at that time, the brand of Sunny Side of Life, which I think perfectly presents Maldives, because we are in the equator and we have sun almost every day. There's only rain for showers, but we have a sun rise at 6 o'clock, sunrise, sundown at 6 o'clock, and also the temperatures are very constant from 32 degrees to 27 degrees Celsius all through the year. So with the industry's request, I rebranded it to the our Sunny Side of Life, because you see, changing a brand like Coca-Cola will never change its brand, because we have heavily invested on Sunny Side of Life. So I put it back, and that really gave me good acceptance through the industry. And then there was a lot of like marketing done by our previous governments, like saying that Maldives will submerge. There was a scientist who predicted that Maldives will submerge by 2020.
Well, we heard that as children.
Yeah,
Being born and brought up in Kenya,
yeah,
we would be told by our parents, we must go to the Maldives quickly because we don't know how long that island is going. All those islands are going to be around.
yeah.
So,
So I got a lot of Japanese tourists also. They came, they told me that they are here so that, before we go down, they want to see it. So by that time, we decided that I decided that we'll change the perspective of Maldives. How we will not sell vulnerabilities, but our strengths. So I used to come to UAE, especially Dubai, from 2008 and 9 onwards. So I was really inspired by the palm, which is 25 meters deep, the lagoon. They reclaimed it, and it has become a wonderful project. So likewise, Maldives lagoons, we have a lot of lagoons, and it's almost 1 to 2 meters only. So we can carve out islands. So that's, I started pushing lagoons. I convinced a lot of investors to take lagoons than islands, because they were always coming to me to get an island near the airport. So near the airport, almost all the islands were gone.
yes.
So I said, we have lagoons, so let's start with the lagoons. So if you see even now, the most successful projects recently, the World of Astoria, the Ritz-Carlton, and almost all Cheval Blanc also, always it's reclaimed and their own designed islands. So it has become a big industry now. But then at that time, I pushed it. And also I rebranded Maldives as one of the luxury. I want to target Maldives as top luxury resort destination in the world, because we have this unique one island, one resort concept. So by the time I came, it was 40 years of tourism celebrating in 90 resorts and 22,000 beds. So I pushed it along with new islands, new lagoons, and gave it to investors who can really do it, and also targeted with incentives to the investors, like duty free for all their material and also the machinery which they bring to build the resorts. And also I made Ministry of Tourism as one-stop solution for all the investors rather than going around. So by now today we have around 60,000 beds and 176 resorts in operation. But if you compare Bora Bora, or if you compare Seychelles, which is very similar to ours, we can call it like competitors. Combined, they have only 20 resorts, but we have 176 in operation. So that means we have separate island resorts. That means they're doing their own water, power. All the employees are with them. So it's like one island, one resort is a complex investment and complex to operate, but it gives the highest ADR. If you see one simple from the simple brands to the highest brands. We have any brand, if you compare to any destination, we have the highest ADR
Yeah.
because we are able to give them the exclusivity, the privacy, and then a very family oriented in a honeymoon destination.
Yeah, correct. And aviation obviously played a huge role in making the Maldives a tourism success. It's, yes, there are some fantastic properties, and I do agree that there are properties to suit every budget in the Maldives. It's not purely a luxury destination, because generally the image that people tend to have is Maldives is only ultra luxury. So could you just kind of first of all tell us a little bit about that? How we can change that narrative or that image
Yeah.
of Maldives, and secondly, how aviation has played a role in the success of Maldives.
Yeah. So first thing, like to mention that Maldives is always from like past, even now what we have maintained is free visa for everyone in the world for tourists. So if you have a hotel booking, you get on arrival visa, no matter whichever country you're from. So that's the first and one thing we have maintained all through these years. And also during our tenure, we made Maldives as an open air policy. We declared that means we will not have any protective policies for any airlines because we don't have any big airlines as well. So we invited and we facilitated almost all the airlines, not only the scheduled airlines, but also the charter flights from Europe, also private jets clearing. And I made the first thing I had to do was private jet parking because a lot of jets were coming and there were not enough parking. And then clearance of the jets in a speedy way. So basically, open air policy has given us many advantages. For example, from UAE, we had 11 flights per day coming into Maldives. So likewise, we have increased number of flights and we have been very open. And also the airport we have built, there was a privatization policy where that BOT investor would only develop like with one runway, but then we changed it, we took it back and we compensated even the investor. But then we went for 2 runways and also with a new terminal with the world's largest seaplane base, seaplane terminal as well, because Maldives is unique in geography because it's all separate islands, right?
Yeah.
So seaplanes played a big role in expanding the tourism. Started with the Malay atoll and now it has expanded to 4-5 atolls. And we have 22 atolls. So there are even now untouched. But aviation has played a major role in bringing international airlines and also the domestic. So we have created like every 30 minutes in each island and resort, there will be a domestic airport. So we have implemented that as well. So the connectivity is very, very good, I would say, in Maldives, domestically and also international.
The Maldives is known for its environmental sustainability. The preservation and conservation of marine life, of coral, of lagoons. What would you say to the opposers of all this development and this infrastructure and putting, new mini airports or mini airstrips at every atoll? How do you justify this amount of construction, the increase in tourism?
Yeah.
Because you are going to have a lot of people coming and saying that this is far too much. So when is it too much?
Yeah. So what we started by protecting the habitats. For example, there are lagoons. I would say there are over 100 lagoons and islands which we have already protected by law, which can never be constructed or cannot be touched. So those are habitats, the breeding grounds of manta ray, the sharks, and we have protected by law turtles, sharks. So we can proudly call us we are the largest sanctuary for marine reserves, especially sharks. We have banned shark fishing also, and also we have no net fishing. That is from our ancestors. So fishing is only by pole and line, one by one. So we have maintained that. So in terms of sustainability, we have done very well. And also, if you see our diving tourism, they don't have shark incidents because we believe that eco life is in balance. They have the enough small fish to eat because we don't net and take out all the sea, while we are fishing.
Yeah.
So that has been pretty much in balance in Maldives.
Yeah.
And also, like in terms of construction, we haven't touched, I would say, even 20% of our islands or lagoons. So in terms of that, we have enough and more reserves, and we have created a biosphere reserve in, for example, Bai Atoll, where it is a habitat for marine life. So likewise, I would like to say that we have maintained a balance between environment and tourism because tourists are coming not only for, mostly for our environment, like the beaches we offer. So anywhere whenever we create an island, nature takes it over. And also when we build a resort, the sustainability come into place. Then the resort takes care of the coral gardens they create, and also the house reef, because that is their investment, right? People are coming to dive in and also snorkel in these house reefs. So I believe the sustainability comes in play when you have development as well, because rather than keeping those lagoons just for people, locals to go and fish, we create islands so that it's protected. So wherever we have an investment, it is protected by it's not a burden to the government, but to the private sector.
So you would say that the Maldives is still open for investment into tourism projects today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still untouched atolls, untouched. I would say like Maldives is a millions of years old volcanic craters. So if you see those 22 craters are big mountain tops where the edges are the lagoons. So we are on the mountain top because inside these atolls, 40 meters is deep. That is inside the crater. But when you go outside the atoll, it's 1,000 meters to 2,000 meters. It goes. It's like a mountain.
Wow.
So we are on the top of the mountain.
Top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And tell me, Adeeb, when people talk about, I mean, there is criticism on a lot of countries being heavily tourism dependent. The Maldives is heavily tourism dependent. Would you say it is, or would you say there are other factors in that economy that, are also a success story for the country?
Yes, so we've been a fisheries country before. We are a fishing village actually before tourism. But yes, after tourism, it's been heavily invested in tourism. So you can say any impact on the global scale, which impacts us as well. So the government during our time and even now they are continuing diversification. Especially we take UAE. So Dubai is a good model where tourism combines with the investment, real estate, and tourism. So I believe now it's more time for Maldives to move ahead as well, because tourism will be a big part of our economy. But there are, with this beautiful tourism and the image and also the confidence that we have built with the investors, I think it's time that we expand and diversify our economy.
So you've kind of given me the example, which I was going to ask was my next question, that, Maldives would aspire to be similar to another country. And you said the UAE is a great example of where the Maldives should aspire to in terms of tourism investments and, the rest of it. Which countries do you think need to learn from the Maldives? Are there any countries that you feel perhaps could change their model? It may not be the wrong way of doing things, but they could be looking at it in a different way.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of countries, like, for example, like India has the biggest beach peninsula. And if you see in the Phuket and if you go to Goa, it's very similar. So I would suggest that, like what we have learned is we didn't have any natural resources other than the beaches, the lagoons. But how we have capitalized it, we have made it very special because we knew that don't have the infrastructure for mass tourism. So we kind of elevated our brand so that we market it for the niche. But alongside that, we also have guest house tourism. We have that, but we marketed Maldives as the top brand. When you market a diamond, in search of diamond, a lot of people come to other other parts as well.
Other rare gems.
The rare gems.
Other rare gems.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly. So branding app we've kept on that. But when you Google, you will find all those affordable luxury as well in Maldives. So sometimes people think it's only very expensive, but no, there are opportunities that you can explore Maldives with affordable luxury as well. But branding, how we have made these small islands, because we have adopted the sea, rather than being scared of the sea. Because, for example, if we were, like I've seen big countries where people are very scared of the sea. So we are just 1 meter above the sea level, and our ancestors has lived there for thousands of years, and we have adopted the sea. So that means our beach bungalow, like beach villas, are not far from the beach. It's just next to the beach. So that means you are in the beach villa, and then there's your private pool in the beach villa. Then there's the beach, and then there's the sea. So you enjoy the wholesome.
Yeah.
So you have your own private beach in front of your villa. So that's the beauty of it. It's just next to the sea. So you enjoy the wholesome of the sea. And also we have world's most number of water villas.
Yeah.
It's just we put some pontoons and put the villa on top of it, a house on top of it, and it has done very well for us.
Well, I know it's a huge success story even with these overwater villas, because being from the travel industry, you get a lot of inquiries for business, especially coming into the Maldives. And the first thing they ask you is, we want an overwater villa. Can you suggest properties that have those? Now, most of the properties have overwater villas.
Yeah.
You try and push the beach villas, they're not always as popular. They are generally popular with the younger families with younger children. But most of the time you see that it's the overwater villas which are the most popular. People are going to the Maldives for those villas.
Yeah, exactly. So we have adopted the sea. We have loved the sea and adopted the sea and made it part of our hotels.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that, that there are a lot of beautiful beaches, beautiful lagoons or beautiful sea, which people have not adopted on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see that they makes a rule, go 500 meters inside, like, I don't know why they are so afraid of the sea, but then, if you see the natural disasters, like tsunami or something, it's once in 100 years or something. So I don't know why we should not enjoy the beach, the sea, near the beach. So that is something that that people can adapt from Maldives. Yeah. And then yes, in terms of diversification, we cannot do like UAE has done very well, Dubai has done very well, but we cannot be a big city like it. But we can be for example, if you say in terms of real estate, for example, we can create like a Dubai Hills in Maldives, a separate island, which is copy paste by like the Dubai Hills, which their own villas, residencies, apartment buildings, and also schools, banks, and office buildings, which can create communities, which I have seen here. It's beautiful, and the way they have adopted it, they have systemized it with land department, RERA, DEVA, and all combined together. I think it's a beautiful system here.
Yeah. And in the Maldives, if you see, obviously because you grew up there and you've had your political journey there as well, where do you see the Maldives should emulate something from the UAE? Like, I remember the last time we met, you spoke about how, you were so impressed with the digitization of land records and RERA and, getting the permits from one place, a one-stop shop. Where do you think Maldives can adopt that? And if they haven't adopted it, why?
Yeah, so we have done very well with the tourism resorts in terms of hospitality. But in terms of real estate, we haven't done that. I believe the system here, the land department, the digitalization, and also the fact that you don't even have to visit any office. You can do it everything digitally here, especially the real estate. It is very easy to know which land, who is the owner, is it free? So those kind of systems, if we can adopt, and if we can come into way, it can be a small mini Dubai UAE, or mini Dubai sometimes, because the elements here is very similar to, because Dubai has almost all the luxury brands of the world coming here. We have almost all the luxury brands of resorts. But if we combine with small financial center, small gold soup, and then a lot of land for real estate, can do it can do great. But we need a good system in place, because I feel that from the investors I meet here, they have a lot of confidence in the system. So when you have a system, investors are easy to find.
Yes.
They have no worry of investments, because the escrow accounts are in place. Everything is systematic.
Yeah. You brought a lot of investors yourself to the Maldives.
Yeah.
Can you give us some examples of, investors that kind of came and kind of how they've also changed the narrative of the Maldives and how they've changed the tourism story in the country?
Yeah. So Maldives was started in 1972, the tourism, which started with Italians. So actually at that time, Italians came from while they are visiting Colombo. And then, they wanted to do, fishing, and also like they do a lot of diving, and they have that spear gun for the fishes. So this kind of tourism came, and that was the hippies era, right? So they started coming in. At that time, even our government made a survey where even you weren't told that tourism is not feasible because you don't have a proper airport, you don't have proper infrastructure for that. But then our people pushed, our president pushed, and they made a small airport where they can land lands. And then we made these islands with huts, and that became the tourism. So by the time when I came in after 2008 financial crisis, there were a lot of Italian resorts which they started, like Club Vacanze, a lot of clubs. The Italian clubs, they have these resorts where you cannot even rest. There's always an activity. There can be aerobics, beach aerobics, water aerobics, and they come in groups. So it was kind of Italian investors. But then after 2008, after the financial crisis, a lot of investors, they sold it. So a lot of Singaporean investors, we had already an anchor investors, but then a lot of Singaporean ASEAN investors came in play. If you see all the big brands of Thailand, from Dusitani to Anantara to a lot of brands are there in Maldives. So if you see, Soneva was, I would say, born in Maldives. And then Anantara also, they refined their luxury tourism in Maldives. And even Banyan Tree, I would say, these are very successful brands that was from Maldives, but now it's globally successful.
Yes.
So likewise, even the Jolie, like the Vela Private Island. So a lot of investors came from Singapore, Thailand, ASEAN region, and also Middle East, UAE, Saudi Arabia. And so a lot of investors came in, and they have that ability, they have that passion for hoteliers. Because I always say that Maldives is a place where you should have your own passion, right? So where you come, you grow, you start with one island. I know investors now, like from Singapore, they started with 1, 2, and now they have 10 to 13 resorts under operation. They reinvested what they got. So it's been very passionate investors who love the product, who loves Maldives. And also a lot of investors says that, they have hotels all over the world. But, every friend they have, whenever they get married, I mean, for favors, they always call for Maldives, So they feel the importance of the assets in Maldives. And a lot of business also, they say that happens in Maldives when they host their investors for other projects in other parts of the world. But they always love to stay in Maldives. So it has a lot of value for them, for their brand. So I've been able to bring them, and it takes time, it takes time. I took almost 2 years, talking to the existing investors, also convincing new investors to come in Maldives. And then when our party got elected and we had more powers, and that's where this happened. And I would say the most proud thing I can say and look back is that the investors at that time, that political turmoil time where they parked a lot of money outside because they were afraid of, what's going to happen. I was able to mobilize the existing investors' funds and new investors' funds, and able to create a lot of islands, a lot of investments where government gets perpetual income from it, and also a lot of youth who grew up after our tenure has got a lot of jobs, a lot of employment, and they're very happy, they're very empowered. And to see that, that I'm very proud of that.
Amazing. And tell me, when you have hotel construction going on with all these properties,
Yeah.
you're saying that there was a lot of the people of the Maldives who were being hired to build these properties. Would you say that also the materials that we're using, were they all kind of locally made materials, or were these because of the situation in the country? But did you have to import a lot of materials for a lot of these investors?
So almost most of the things are imported to our country even before that, because we are a small island nation. But one thing has sticking to it. If you see the thatch roof, which is made by our local, mostly women in the islands. So those thatch roofs has been, it will be always keep on replacing because of the wind, the monsoon season. But then people love it, so that has been part of our unique infrastructure. So yes, we have imported a lot, and that time I changed the policy for duty-free policy for all the new investments to be made. I had to debate. I had to debate even the bureaucrats, because see, people say that Adeeb, if you give these incentives, we are losing this duty and all that. I said these are imaginary duties that is not been there, because already these islands has been there forever, but it's not built, right? But let us build, let us come into the operation, so that investors also become a partner, because even today the biggest revenue to the government is the TGST, which is 16%. So government is getting from every operation 16% over the top revenue, right?
Yeah.
So likewise, so I had a hard time convincing that, and a lot of people even blame me for what I did. But I pushed the limits because I believe that we needed a change, we needed a push, and we need a breakthrough, so that Maldives can become the brand that we envisioned.
Yes, yes. Do you think power came too early to you? Do you think it was a blessing? Do you think it's a regret? What do you think?
I believe the power was always it gives room for change. I believe power is something that should be used to negotiate, to bring people to the table, which obviously I did. I would say I did very well, and also like the president, I elected him, and then we got consolidated the power. And then that's where he started, because I've not, since even now, I've not been the president of a country. But when you are president of a country, like for example, you see the Trump. So we have the similar system in Maldives, American system, where president runs executive power, the whole government. Parliament is only for the lawmaking, and judiciary is separate. So in a time like that, wherever the president wants can be done, if you see now. So likewise, I would say with that power, I was able to accumulate and consolidate. I would say that really didn't help with him, because I believe that some people get short-sighted when you see those. I've seen that, a lot of presidents, when they come, they are very weak until we consolidate, because ministers and all, we consolidate, we do the politics, we bring more seats, we consolidate all the power. But when you are consolidate, you see a different person there, and also like how the military, how the police acts within the power, they feel like they become from a normal human being to a divine personality, where you cannot be scrutinized. But I believe power is something that you have to keep inside, because like you get 5 years in politics, it's like running a club, for example. So it's time for you to bring the results with good players, and otherwise, you will be fired, right, by the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to keep up with the scrutiny. You have to keep up with, and it's very easy now because social media is there. Everyone with their own opinions.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
What advice would you give to your younger self today?
yeah. So younger self, I would say that keep on going and never give up. Whatever the hurdles you make, you just say that but rather than following a leader, just follow the people.
And has it been lonely at the top when you reached the prime of tourism minister 29 and the vice president of a country, of a famous country at that too, at 33? Was it lonely?
Yeah, you get lonely because sometimes you don't know who is who, right? So when you have power, people will always try to say nice things, but you have to have those scrutiny in terms to be in touch with the reality, and also like a competitive political environment like we had. It was a very young democracy. So how many old tourism ministers will be there to advise me, for example? So because everyone is from another political party, so you feel the top, the higher you go, you will feel more. But when you keep in touch with the ordinary public, you always feel empowered, and they always love to talk to you. Because you see, I say that now even some of my colleagues who worked with me are still ministers. So, and people say that they don't take our calls, but when I became Minister of Tourism, it's a small country. So whoever I call, I made sure that I even return calls, so that when you are in power only, you can serve the people, right? You are in a service, you are not other way around, right? So I was able to be in touch with a lot of people, and in my country they call me bro because I was always in touch with them. I call them bro, so that call me back,
Yeah.
brother. So that was the relationship I had. Yeah.
Your political journey has had some extreme highs
Yeah.
and some difficult lows.
Yeah.
What has it taught you about resilience, and why don't you tell us a bit about it if you're comfortable talking about it?
Yeah, I'm actually, as I mentioned before, I consolidated power for my president, and then he started, putting a lot of political prisoners. We fell apart on some issues, and he made me the fall guy, kind of. And then 3 years I was in a isolated island cell, which I spent only on reading books, because I knew though in those 3 years he will not be able to handle the consolidated the government we brought in, and then the next election I'll be out. I mean, I'll get some relief to my. But then he made a lot of cases, and then in isolated island cell, that was a real test of time, because you have to keep your mind, sane.
I mean, I shouldn't have asked about lonely at the top. I should have started with, I mean, you alone with yourself and your thoughts. 3 years isolated on an island. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And it must have taken a lot of willpower to kind of get through something like that. So, I mean, tell us about that before we continue on the rest of your
Yeah,
political
I
journey.
believe it's a kind of mindset. So when he like I was in I went to China. I met Chinese president as well. And I came through Singapore. So at that time, there was a lot of conspiracy against me by him, because I was the vice president. I was very young, and there was a lot of fear. Suddenly he became like very fearful that I might become the next president and all that. So I knew I was going into a kind of a trap, but then I told him that the last 3 years or 4 years, yeah, the investors I brought in, I took the responsibility in giving them the assurance that it will be a very stable next 5-year government, and then if we shake upon, we will lose a lot of big investments. And it's not only the island investments. If you see, we had a lot of big investments lined up, even strategic investors from north to, there is a very big atoll development also, for which we even changed the constitution for. But then, I was handling the investors for 4 years, and you cannot just suddenly replace someone, right? I tried to explain him. I could have gone even abroad and become a, when I was offered to go to Europe for political asylum and all, because the opposition wanted me to be with them at that time. But then I came back because I believed that I have not done nothing wrong, and whatever the false, claims, I can prove myself. But then, he decided to take me in. So when he took the mobile phones, I knew that this government will fall down, because those two mobile phones I had, I was managing the whole country, the system, every system, from the parliament members to, the whole system. And then after putting me into jail, he framed me and put a lot of cases on me. But then also he couldn't manage. Within 6 to 8 months, 12 parliament members shifted other side, and the courts came against him. So it was just a survival 3 years. When he took my phone, I kept the mindset, it's now 3 years after his fall, I'll be out. It's the mindset on that. Then I just have to, you cannot say that it's not painful. It's always painful.
Course, yeah.
But with the pain, you have to divert the pain to more, more other things to do. For example, I kept on reading. So I never read. I mean, I was a football player. I did my studies, but it's only business. But then I was able to read history. The only thing I was allowed was to take books into, let's say, each week. I think I had a quota of 12 books per week. So friends from all over the world were sending me good books. So I gave them notes through my lawyers and my family. So I was reading. I read world history, Maldives history, philosophies, and also lot of novels and other non-fiction as well. So that I came out more calm. They said I have come out like a monk, so it made me more calm. My thinking horizon became much broader, and then we learn a lot as we grow up as well, right? So I've become more, not more, I would say more calm. I've gone through a transformative process there. When you have pain, if you convert it to transformation, you come out as a new person, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So the difference is that I've before I used to also tweet back, fight back, but I don't find a need for that. So that I've calmed myself, and then it's been a very hectic journey for my family. So that's why after that I've taken a break from politics. I've gone back to advisory. So that's why I'm spending more time with family, because even after that, the next 5 years also, I have to go through a lot of. I was in house arrest. I took all my cases out from the court, and I was able to get the full presidential pardon and everything by 2023. So that 8 years was a very tough years for me to come back and also to things. So I'm taking a break, but also learning. So I've lived after that in Singapore, Thailand, and now in UAE, Dubai. I've learned so much, because I believe it's not only important to learn something in your country, but then you go through these processes and exposure in other countries where for example, if you close a deal, for example, even for a villa, for example, in Dubai, you go through all that process, so you learn it, right, for others. So I've been here, and a lot of my friends has been investing here as well. So I learned the processes and the systems, which I would say would never be possible if I didn't go through all that. Yeah. So it is, I take everything very positively.
Yeah.
I didn't come out bitter, but as a more positive person.
And tell me, when you finally came out, and you've had this time to yourself, and like you said, you've had a lot of time for reflection. You've had a lot of time to think about what you want out of life once you're out. Was it difficult kind of getting people to getting that credibility back, getting that reputation back, being falsely accused of something you've not done? Certain people are going to make up their minds about you.
Yeah.
And it may not be something that you agree with or not. So how's that been for you?
Yeah, from my childhood, I've been I've been a model. I've did my hair in funky ways that always people criticize me. So I've always believed that I cannot for the things that people don't understand or criticize, I cannot help on that. So I've maintained always that. So even today, if I don't get that credibility at that level, it's not something that I can help out. I can always try to be a better person, do much better things in life, so that it compensates. So even for my country, there's a lot of people who supports me as well, and there's a lot of opposition that always would love to criticize because I was their opposition. So, but one thing is that that numbers, the statistics, the difference I was able to bring in. For example, a small country like Maldives, we are in a developing stage. We cannot just go and copy paste what we learn in, for example, New Zealand, OECD countries, where the economies are well established. Okay, 1950, they might have a similar situation, but now they are well advanced economies where they have much pretty good standard laws. But what we tend to do is we copy paste that, and we kind of limit ourselves. So that's the area I had to break in. I have to come up with new laws, new transformative laws, which people didn't understand. So when I went through this process, I read a lot of biographies. Like for example, Steve Jobs. He said that you cannot ask people and do iPhone. If you ask everyone, they will have so much opinions that you will never be able to make the iPhone. But once you do the iPhone and give it to them, everyone is, oh, this is what I needed.
Yes.
So sometimes as leaders, we have to do things that, sometimes people will not understand. But, most of the leaders, most of the artists, most of the people, like when I read, they had a very tough life, all through their life. And they even died with misunderstanding. But it's the posterity, it's the future generations which will, understand and right. And I hope I'm right. And also I believe I'm not finished. I'm just 44. And with this new knowledge, with this new experience and transformation, I would like to contribute. I'm not someone that always, like to be president or I'm not going. For example, I want to be a part of a team because I've been a minister, vice president. It was very ceremonial as well. But from childhood, even now, I love to do deals, make a deal. So I'm always talking to people, making deals. So that's what I did very well as minister. But when I became vice president, there was so many functions that I have to attend. It's ceremonial. Whereas I'll be spending a whole night giving, awards. There are a lot of 10 investors might be in Malay waiting for me, for example. So likewise, I would like to contribute as a team, whoever the government is, and also add a lot of value that I can open up Maldives, bring more investors from different areas, and diversify the economy that that will be more sustainable and our population is like 500,000 and below. In our lifetime, it will never be locals, 1 million. But our GDP can go
absolutely
higher up. So I believe now, if you compare from 2012, our GDP was $2,000, which we have increased now to 7,000, which was a 3 billion economy we have converted in 10-15 years for a 7 billion economy. But I believe that is not the limit by exploring all these countries. So what I've seen, what is similar in Singapore, even Thailand, and even UAE, Dubai, is that they are more focused. Even the leadership is more focused in what they can do inside their country. How do they attract the investments? How do we develop furthermore tourism, rather than us, as countries criticizing on what the world is going on? Because as countries like Maldives, we cannot do much. So rather than the external things happening all around the world, we had to focus on our country. How to make the Maldives great again, for example.
Absolutely.
How do we bring new investors? That's what I have always think. How to build more new systems.
And so talking of the future, there are two parts to this. What do you think the future holds for the Maldives? And what do you think the future holds for you?
So Maldives, I believe it's in the development stage. We have created a very luxury brand. Maldives has become a brand now. So we just need to diversify it. We need to scale it up, but in the right way. How do we bring ultra luxury real estate now? How do we create the systems where, uh, our small population can live very happily, uh, you know, well-deserved lives, where they can have an affluent life. But we need to diversify. We need to focus more, because when the public wants like subsidies and all that, they have to see that how do we give in to the investors, because I believe in capitalism and free markets, which is the only way for the development. Because you see, even for example, China, 1978 from now, when they opened up the economy, they have become the second largest economy in the world, or it's overtaking US, So likewise, if you see Dubai, if you see Maldives, the hoteliers, the industry, when you give it into the private sector, and just facilitate it, they drive the market, right? If you see, they drive the tourism, they drive the airlines. We just need to be smart government, facilitative government, a friendly government, and also be a compliant government to make sure there's no negative, I would say, activities. We have to be compliant, but then also we have to be very friendly to bring in and make a difference. So Maldives, I would say, is going towards diversification. I would say Maldives has a lot and much to offer. And personally myself, I would like to be a contributing partner for that. This is what I think this journey has been. I've prepared myself now for next 8 years. So I would be going back by 2028, and I would like to contribute whatever the government is. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And long time from now, when you and I are no longer even here,
Yeah.
what do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I want to be remembered for someone who made a effort, who made a difference in their lives. So the branding or the systems that I have put in place go beyond. If you see, there's a beautiful bridge that I worked very hard on, because we saw the bridge between Macau and Hong Kong. And that's where when we started this bridge with the new president, nobody believed that we can make, because we were ferry people. You see, our capital is an island which has been thousands of years, the capital of Maldives, and it has been overflooded. It's the most dense populated city in the world. And then the airport is an island. Even if you want to go to picnic, there's an island. So ferry is there. So ferry to the airport. So we are kind of ferry mindset people, I say. Then when I started the bridge, everyone said you cannot do it, And then within 3 years it was made and opened, and then that really transformed our lives, because I had the opportunity to sit with Chinese president. It's a state level negotiation. He visited Maldives, and he asked, "Why do you need the bridge? Justify it." And then our president told me to justify it. So I told him that now our capital is full. Even our there's no land to expand our power station, because there's no land to it. And then, so when we connect this bridge, it will not be only a transport, but this links to the airport and the two cities that we are making next to the airport. So it gives the economies of scale, where not only the transport, but also the power cables, water, and also the optical cables of internet and all. So all this mixed together, and it connects. So it's a feasible project where, not only that, the mindset of us, the Maldivians, when we see the bridge connecting, and then, it alleviates us that, we are mostly island people, but then we become cities. Now, if you see, after 10, 15 years of building the bridge, whenever president goes to even south atolls and all, they don't demand only because before it was only domestic airports. Now they want bridges, to be connected, to expand themselves. So I see that there was a big difference which was made. So believe in doing things like that, that brings infrastructure systems in place, where we will be remembered for that, even 100 years from now, that they see these infrastructures in place or resorts in place, which is operating and continuing beyond our lives.
Yeah. Right, Adeep. So we're going to get into a rapid fire round.
Yeah.
Tell me your favorite island in the Maldives.
Male, where I grew up.
Excellent. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset,
Barefoot luxury or classic elegance?
barefoot,
One word that describes the Maldives.
tuna,
One lesson life has taught you the hard way.
patience,
What does paradise mean to you today?
happiness.
Excellent. And I have two more questions. If there's one book you had to choose, what book would you suggest I should go and read?
I think Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which team are you supporting in the FIFA World Cup?
Argentina,
Excellent.
always Maradona fan. No Messi.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Adeep. Thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah.
Your story is exceptional. It's inspirational. And really, it's such an honor to have had you here today with us.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you for having me here. And it's always good to meet you, and especially with your knowledge on Africa and your travel experiences has been very enlightening to me. Wish you all the best on that as well.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Great.